All right, so we explained that just as we left Egypt through incredible miracles, and God did it all, but the fact is it was by means of our hard work that we worked in Egypt. In servitude with Chomer u'biluveinim, cement and bricks. And the Rebbe informs us, reminds us that this going out of Egypt, it was only a preparation for the future redemption. There's going to be another big miracle. Just like we left Egypt, it'll be even superior. How that can be, I have no idea, but it'll be superior to the redemption and the miracles that were when we left Egypt. God took us out, and he drowned the Egyptians in the Yam Suf, in the sea, and he gave us bread from heaven, etc. All these miracles are just a preparation for the future redemption that's going to be by means of Moshiach. And this is the thing that's for sure going to happen. But it also depends on our hard work. Back then, the hard work was physical. They had to work, and their lives were threatened. And when they left Egypt, they left physical bondage. And that wasn't really enough. God was hoping that they would get the spiritual point and change their insides also. But they didn't. When they left Egypt, they always wanted to go back. And when they got the Torah, they afterwards they worshipped the golden calf, and they made trouble through the whole time they were in the desert. And Jews never really 100% got the point. So the Rebbe says that's what we're doing now. We're now fixing that up in these 2,000 years of exile. And the main way of fixing it up is learning the Torah. And the Rebbe stresses that the Torah is really the revelation of God in the world. Even though the Torah deals with very mundane things, but still the Torah requires us to use our mind. And that using our mind then becomes the vessel to reveal God's oneness in the world. And this is very hard work. First of all, it requires a great amount of faith that God can reveal in such a way. And then it's not just one-time faith. It gets further and further and more detailed and more distant from the original miraculous revelation at Mount Sinai. So first there was what was called the Mishnah, and then after that it was called the Braita, and then after that it's called the Halachos. That comes by means of the Tanaim and the Amoraim, that these people were all godly, holy people, and they brought the laws into the world. But it takes a lot of faith, because at Mount Sinai there was amazing, soul-shaking, right, revelation of godliness. And now you sit and learn the Torah, it's almost the opposite. You know, what type of godliness is there? But that's the main point of it, right? As soon as godliness, as soon as the excitement, the joy of Judaism is gone, the godliness, the life, then you don't feel the life in it. So it says that therefore the Torah is called the names of God. Like when you call to a person, you call his name. Because the name makes the person turn to you. The same thing, the Torah is the names of God. And when you read the Mishnah and the Gemara and you learn these laws, is actually you're calling the names of God and making God revealed in the world. That's one of the main means of revealing God in the world. Just remember that in the Holy of Holies, what was there in the Holy of the Torah? There was the 10 Commandments. That was in the Holy of Holies. So let's just skip a little bit because there's a few other beautiful Maimonim I would like to learn. But I summarized what it said over here. So it said, okay, let's go. That's what is written. Ki lo yitosh Hashem amo, that God will not ever abandon his people. Let's see if I can make this bigger. That God will never abandon his people. Ba'avur, because of Shmo HaGadol, because of his big name, his great name. It's also written in the book of Joshua. Uma ta'aseh l'shimcha gadol, and what can be done to your great name? What is this great name? The great name is the Torah. Ki talat kashurim mitkashrim dabada, because there are three binds, three unifications, knots, K-N-O-T-S, that are tied one in the other. The Jews are tied to the Torah. Oraita means the Torah. The Torah is tied to God. And God is tied to the Jewish people. Omer is all it says. In other words, the Jews, by means of learning the Torah, are attached to God. And similarly, that God, by means of the Jews, God is attached to the Jews by means of them learning Torah. So they bring godliness into the world by learning the Torah. Omer Zal, the rabbi, say, David HaMelech alav shalom, the King David, Haya mechaber Torah shalom maila b'kodesh baruch hu. That King David, he joined the Torah with God. He elevated the Torah. Hainu liyot kodesh baruch hu yoshev the nishbal b'Torah. He brought God into the Torah. Because it depends how you learn the Torah, the attitude that a person has. What are we saying? What took the Jews out of Egypt? Of course, God did, but God reacted to the hard work. Same thing, learning Torah has to be with hard work. It has to be with an attitude. You have to have the attitude, I am learning God's Torah. I am learning God's Torah. And the God's Torah comes through the Chachamim, the Tanaim, the Amoraim. It says in the Gemara, that was the big sin of Christianity. It was going against the rabbis, going against the Torah. The Torah, the rabbis. Right? They're trying to bring godliness into the world. And came along this person, and he said, don't believe the rabbis. The rabbis are fooling you. The rabbis are lying to you. The rabbis are trying to keep you away from the truth. The truth is you have to believe in me. But that's what he said. And that's to this very day. Right? That's what the church says. Don't believe in the rabbis. That's the oral Torah. It's not really the Torah. Basically, that's Reform Judaism and Conservative Judaism also. Don't believe in the rabbis. Don't believe in the Torah. Right? They're lying to you. It's a big trick. Don't pay any attention. Says the Rebbe, that's the only way to really fix the world up. The rabbis are bringing pure godliness into the world. And it's true, they've got a very hard job because you can't see any, the Torah, you open up the Torah, the Gemara, you don't see that sparkling and sprinkling, you don't feel an elevation into higher worlds or go into some sort of a trance. Exactly the opposite. It's very difficult to understand the ideas, and the ideas are very, very mundane. And often their arguments are on very small details. What is really called chometz and what is called a kazayet and what is different measurements. And nevertheless, if a person has an attitude, like the best example was King David. King David, he learned the Torah and he was so convinced that this was true and so devoted to God and every word of God that when he learned the Torah, he made the Torah more godly. It's called Kiddush Hashem also, making God's name more holy. And that's what it means, Eile Shmot. This is the names of the Jewish people. That's this week's Torah portion, right? That's what it means. These are the names of the Jewish people. What's it talking about? The Jewish people were in Egypt and they got out of Egypt. That's the topic of this book. How did the Jewish people get out of Egypt? Because they worked at hard labor. And by means of this hard labor, they got out of Egypt. Also, we have to work at hard labor learning the Torah, because the Torah are the names of God. That's what it means, the names, Shmot Mamash, the names. Like it says, Vayaz David Shem, like it said over here, that King David made a name. What does it mean? Perek Zohar, it explains in the Zohar, the Abid Shmei Kadisha, that King David made God's name holy in this world. Shehim Shech Bechinas Gilui, that he revealed the name of God below in this world. Lahamshich, to draw down, or Ein Sof, the infinite light of God, from Chachmei Eloah, from the upper wisdom of God, which is the Yud of God's name. Now just think about it one moment. What happened in Mount Sinai? It says in Mount Sinai that, that God revealed himself, the Creator revealed himself in the creation. Every Jew was in the Holy of Holies. It's like taking all the Jewish people and put them in the Holy of Holies. After this amazing, fantastic revelation of godliness, it says that all the Jews, their souls jumped out of their bodies. The revelation was so intense, so amazing. Pure one godliness, right? What was the whole purpose? To give the Torah. That's it, to give the Torah, to give this book, just to give a book, a bunch of commandments, what you have to do. It should be that God revealed himself and he made all the Jews free, that they were all free, that they could have x-ray vision and they could fly in the air and they could go up into different, projections into different realms and worlds and know all of the secrets of the upper mysteries, and every Jew be a master of the occult and this, whatever you want to call it. No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. The Jews got this revelation, and what was in the revelation? Don't kill, don't steal. Come on, that's what that's all you're suspecting me of killing. I'm going to kill someone. Who is the Torah given to? To people that it's relevant to tell them, don't kill. To murderers, potential murderers, to potential kidnappers. Don't steal means don't kidnap. The Torah was given to the lowest people, and it was given the most simple laws. This came from the essence of God, the higher puts all of the other religions in its pocket. The other religions are just creations. So they're like peanuts, like pebbles on the street. They're just creations. That's what they worship. Angels and powers and spirits and ghosts and things like that. Here's the essence of the Creator of the universe. He revealed himself. How did he reveal himself? What did he leave? What's his calling card? The Torah. And not only that was his calling card, that is godliness itself, the Torah. The Torah is the names of God. So that's what it says when a person learns now the Torah with this attitude, like he had at Mount Sinai. That's called making Kiddush Hashem, making God's name, which is the Torah, holy. It's not just like another book in the library, like an old book that God gave a long time ago, but it's not relevant. God forbid. This is what God wants right now. God is eternal. That's the Yud of God's name. What about the Hey of God's name? That's the last Hey. There's Yud, and then there's Hey, and then there's the last Hey. That's speech, God's breath. The Olam Asiyah, to bring it down into this physical world, like it says in Igeras HaKodesh, like it says in the Tanya. The Kahu, and that's what it is, Parsha Shmos. The names of the Jewish people, Shabbanei Yisrael, that the Jewish people, they are the ones that draw down and make this revelation of God's upper names, Shmot Elyonim. They make it revealed in the world. That's the Jews. The Jews are the chosen people to make this world a blessed, holy place. When we say the world, we're including everybody, all the creations, all the non-Jews, everyone. Like it says in the Igeres HaKodesh, V'kachu also perish Shmot b'nei Yisrael, that the Jewish people, they reveal these upper names down here. Like we explained before, when we said we're talking about Etkana Razed the Shemei, that the Torah is to fix up the secret of God's name. And that's what we said before. Remember, we were trying to learn before. That's how the mimer started off when it said, Mishubach Mfarah Ade Ad Shemo Gadol, that it is praised and exalted forever and ever, his big name. Okay, we can do the parentheses. The parentheses come from the Tzemach Tzedek. Very beautiful. Here we go. And especially Yaakov and the 12 tribes and his 12 sons, Hashvatim, the 12 tribes. Sheshorshim, that their source is from Atzilus. There starts the Atzilus is the highest of the 4 worlds or dimensions, if you want to call. Hashvatim Sheshorshim, that they come from the 10 swords and the 10 sphirot of Atzilut, that this is the names, the upper names of God. Like it says the name El is Chesed and the name Elokim is Gavur, etc. Kenoda, like it's known also in the book Pri Eitz Chaim. How is it that Yichud Kodesh Baruch Hu Shechinte, that uniting God and his Shechina, Kodesh Baruch Hu means God is above the whole creation, and Shechina is how God is in the creation. This is the unification of Yaakov and Rachel, or Yisrael and Rachel. Even though Yaakov was a human being, he was a real person, but he embodied, just like the Holy Temple embodied godliness, as Israel embodied godliness. So it is with every single Jew, and so it will be eventually in the whole world. Hainu Yichud Havaya Ba'adoni, unifying God's names, the name of God which is before the creation, the name of God which is creating. Kishorish Neshamas Yaakov, because the source of the soul of Yaakov was drawn from the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. And the source of the soul of Rachel is drawn from the name Aleph Daled Nun Yud. This is already really getting into Kabbalah. The Lochi, and therefore Knesset Yisrael, the Jewish people, which that's not Kabbalah, that's me and you, Nimshala are compared to Rachel. We are compared to Rachel. God is compared to Yisrael, and we are compared to Rachel. Like it says, talks about the Jews in the time of exile, Rachel Lifnei Gozazin. Like it says, like a sheep. Rachel also means sheep. Like a sheep in front of the shearers, those who shear is quiet. We're being sheared in the time of exile, but we're called Rachel. And also the 12 tribes, they correspond also to the 12 different combinations of the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is basically the what is it, 4 factorial, right? 4 factorial. 4, does that work out? No, not maybe not. 4 times 3, nah, doesn't work out. It's pretty impressive, but it's not. 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, it doesn't work out. 12. There's 12, anyway, there's 12 different permutations of God. Or maybe because there's 2 hays. That's why, I guess, because there's 2 hays. So therefore, it's just 4 times this, and then you divide it by 2. Could be. Anyway, there's 12 different permutations of the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, and 12 different permutations of God's name Aleph Daled Nun Yud. Adni, it says in the daytime there's 12 permutations of Yud Kei Vav Kei. In the evening there was 12 permutations of Aleph Daled Nun Yud. And it says that's how the Alter Rebbe knew when it was daytime and nighttime when he was in prison, because he saw these different permutations. In any case, the 12 different tzirufim, the 12 different permutations of God's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. It doesn't work out either. Okay. Shebachol Chodesh, which is in every month. Meir Tzirufi Echad, there's signs of different permutation of the 12 different Tzirufi Avaya. But I don't know, that's what it is. Because there's 2 hays, so it comes out to be just 4 times 3. There's two Hay's. So there's 12 different permutations, and then also there's 12 different permutations of Yud, Aleph, Dalet, and Yud, like it's explained in a different place. But that's what it says, that the Shavatim, in any case, the 12 tribes correspond to 12 different permutations of God's name, each one a different revelation of godliness. And Yaakov, or Yisrael, that represents God, not the name. That's what it says about the Shavatim, Haruveni, Hashimoni. They have Yud Ha. Hey starts with a Hey and a Yud. There's a Yud K in each one of the names. That's what it means. This is drawing down these names by means of the Torah. So that's what it says. Elu Shmot Bnei Yisrael. These are the names, namely by means of Bnei Yisrael, the 12 different aspects of godliness which are embodied in the Jewish people, is drawn down the Shemot, the names. And Eile, let's see. That's what Eile Shemot is, drawing down of these names is by means of the Torah, like we said before, in the inyan of the 60 queens, the Mishnayot. Now there's a Shita Sidrei Mishnah. That's what we have, is 60 or 6 orders of the Mishnah. And each one is included from 6 times 6, 36. That's the Gematria Eile, 36. Like it says in another place. Eile Pekudei Mishkan, like it says, Eile means revelation. So the Eile is also 6 times 6, namely referring to the Mishnah, the 6 orders of Mishnah. And this is drawing down godliness from above to below. Okay, but that's not what exactly we talked about before. Before we talked about our hard work. We're drawing godliness down. The Mishnah is godliness. The Mishnah are the names of God. We're drawing them down. But first of all, we have to do the work. Hala, namely, we have to raise up. And that's what's called the Shem Mem Beit. If you know, in prayer, we have this Anabakoach. It says that the name Mem Beit, this refers also to the 42 journeys that the Jewish people made in the desert. This is working from below to above in the desert. The name Mem Beit is also a Kabbalistic number which indicates elevation, going from below to above. So the Mishnah is hinted by Eile, revealing means these, revealing from above to below, 6 times 6. But the working from below to above, by us learning, that's represented by 42. And that is Ve'ele. Like it says, Ve'ele Shmot B'nai Yisrael. Ve, add on the Vav, it comes to be 42. 36 plus 6 is 42. That's what it means. Ve'ele, Gematria 42. So what's the Rebbe saying? We have the Torah here in the world. It's a gift from Hashem, a revelation from Hashem, just like it was Mount Sinai, a gift, a revelation from Hashem. But the Mishnayot, that demands our hard work. That was one of the big problems. There used to be this group of enemies of Judaism called the Tzedukim. Now they're called the Karaites also, but anyway, the Tzedukim. And the Tzedukim said, all the rabbis, forget them. Don't listen to them. Everybody's a rabbi. We're rabbis. You can be a rabbi. You have the written Torah, make up your own explanation. Just do whatever you want. You can accept our explanation if you want. You can do what you want. And there's no hard work. You don't have to work hard. You have the Bible, just do it. That's a religion, right? But you don't have to work hard. There's no hard work. You have to try to understand. You have to try to understand God. You have to try. You have to arouse your heart. You don't have to do any of those things. Like it says in another place, it says about King David that he didn't used to even sleep in the nighttime. He used to sit and learn the Torah all night. He used to nod off and he used to play music to keep him on. And then he would learn the Torah the whole night. Hard work. That's what it means. Vayikralem shemot keshemot. It's like in Parshas told us that he called them names, the wells that were dug by Yitzchak. He said he called them shemot, like the names shemot that Abraham called. The shemot with Yitzchak was digging wells, hard work, and he had an extra vav over there. In other words, learning the Torah is very difficult. A lot of times you learn, and all of a sudden you realize you didn't understand. You didn't understand properly. Sometimes you have great, tremendous, holy people. There was the Bach, Rabbi Yoel Sirkis. It says his explanation is written in the Torah. He was a tremendous, some say he was one of the Baal Shem, the Yoel, I don't know. In any case, he was a tremendously holy person. And his opinions, his explanations are written in this book called the Torah. And the law is very, very rarely like him. Very rarely. Nevertheless, everything he says is tremendously holy. You can see the tremendous work that he went in and to learn the same thing with us. We can learn, you can work, and you can learn. Sometimes you don't get the answer right. But it doesn't make any difference. You worked hard, right? The hard work is like it says, the journey is as important as the achievement. But Pirush ve'elu, this is the end of the Elu Shmos that come to Egypt. This refers on nowadays in Egypt. And we're talking about this holiness in the Torah and the serving God, but we're talking about now in the time of exile because there's Mitzrayim of holiness also. In other words, a person can be out of Egypt and still be spiritually totally in Egypt. Like that's the whole idea of the throat. What's the throat? A lot of times a person can understand God and have really great ideas about God, but it just doesn't really get to his heart or to his actions and to his deeds. It doesn't reach into his arms and his legs. What's preventing? That's called the throat. That's called Mitzrayim. Meitzer, it's a narrow place. Hainuki Mitzrayim is Meitzer, it means concealing, hiding. It says some other places that Paro is the same letters as Oref. Oref means the back of the neck. The Bizamana Galat at the time now in the exile, Otiotenu lo reinu, we don't see any signs. It says we read about in the prayers of Yom Kippur that the Romans took Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Gamliel and other people, and they killed them. They tortured them in public in front of these holy people, and the Romans were like the most disgusting low of the lows, and they publicly tortured these men to death. Rabbi Chutzpis and this is said in the prayers of Yom Kippur, and it says that the angel said, "This is the Torah, and this is its reward." These people learned the Torah their whole life, tremendous sacrifice, and this is the reward. And God said, "Don't worry, it's a secret. You'll That's exile. Well, Pirisha Oteotenu, that means these upper names of God, they're drawn down by means of the Torah, and they're drawn down by means of prayer. That's a mimer that's later on. I sort of wanted to learn it today, but I'll tell you what it says over there. It's very interesting. Lo ra'inu, we don't see. It says there's a mimer later on which says basically the same thing as this one. It's a few pages from here. Explains also the importance of prayer, arousing your heart to serve God. That's this idea of King David. It's not just learning the Torah, it's how you learn, what your attitude is. And especially what it means is how your attitude is to God. That's the main thing. If you feel that the Torah is God's Torah and that you're linking yourself to God and that you don't expect to feel it, it's not going to be all of a sudden big rushes and revelations, and it's belief, it's hard work. It's hard work to believe. It says but this attitude is developed by prayer. By prayer. When a person prays, he links himself, he softens up his heart. And eventually, what does it mean? He makes it even harder, that he's able to stand up. His heart becomes hard, that he's able to withstand the confusion and temptations and disappointments and frustrations of the world. That's the exile. We're in exile. There's troubles. All these ideas we talked about, godliness and revelations, it's not revealed by us. Because they are concealed in Egypt. Mokar, Tsar, a place that's very narrow, which is not the case, the land of Israel, Eretz Israel, which that's why the Moshiach is going to bring everyone to Eretz Israel, because there, it's going to be when everybody wants godliness. Therefore, it's called Eretz Tova or Rachava, the land of Israel. This represents and will be physically a place which is really wide. This is revelation of God, Chuli. And this is all brought about by our learning Torah now properly. Also, it says giving charity now. There's a lot of other advices given in the Tanya, because that's the whole essence of what Judaism is, and what Chabad stresses over and over and over and over and over and over again. We're here only, and we're in Egypt. We're in exile, and the learning of the Torah is working in bricks and clay and things like that. And we cannot never think for one instant that that's it. We're learning the Torah and we're here. We made it. Right? Learning the Torah has to be this hard work, which is a preparation for the big miracles that are going to come from God, just like it was back then in Egypt. This is called the arousal from above, which comes by means of an arousal from below when in the revelation of Mashiach now. God willing, tomorrow we'll learn about why it was that Moshe had a speech impediment. What was Moshe? Why did God pick such a person like this? First, he had a speech impediment, and specifically, he gave the Torah. We'll learn about this, God willing, tomorrow. And now, a sikha of the Rebbe.